Welcome into Clear Picture Financial. Your host is Jason Noble. You can find him at Prime Capital Investment Advisors. You can check him out online. Great resource website, clearpicturefinancial.com. And Jason is a fiduciary advisor, holds his FINRA Series 66 securities registration, certified financial planner, and retirement income certified professional. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. Each and every week we hit the retirement topics. Jason's got 18 plus years in the financial arena, and you can put that to work for you. And we'll tell you how to do that as we move through the program. There's going to be opportunity to get on the calendar with Jason and his team at Prime Capital Investment Advisors. These appointments are no cost, no obligation, simply no pressure. Well, you heard the tease, so let's get into this. Cash flow in retirement, critical factor, and it can determine your financial freedom during your retirement, during your golden years, right? Very, very important. So here are some key considerations for just understanding the importance of cash flow in retirement. And Jason, so glad you're here to tell us and walk us through some of this. But let's get into it. Income sources.
Yeah, when I'm looking at income sources, this could include Social Security benefits, pension payments, retirement account withdrawals, investment income, part-time work, rental income. It's good to have a diversity in income sources throughout retirement. And what that could do, that could lower what's referred to as your portfolio reliance rate. I don't want to get you geeky, but this is something that we analyze and calculate through our clear picture analysis, is to see what can we do to make sure that you have some money that's relied upon your portfolio, but not the majority of your expenses relied upon your portfolio. When times like that happens, like last year and so far this year, and you have a lot of reliance on your portfolio for your expenses, that could create a lot of uncertainty and anxiety, frustration, scared. And that's what we look to offset with our planning approach.
I tell you, folks, cash flow, we're talking about it today. It is a big, big deal, just understanding it and how it's going to relate to your retirement. The next one, expenses.
Yeah, just having a clear understanding of your expenses is equally important. It's essential to have that understanding of like your regular expenses, such as housing costs or healthcare, transportation, food. But then also, what are your discretionary spending? And what are your occasional or unexpected things that could come up, like medical emergencies or home repairs? I just have a dear family member that had a massive heart attack, and there's going to be a lot of costs associated with that.
Yeah.
But we put in a plan, what if we have a what if scenario? I was obviously a top phone call that they made, and I was able to say, just focus on your health. We have your finances in order.
I tell you, that's the ease of mind, knowing that you've got a plan in place. What if scenarios, they're not always fun to talk about, Jason, but you really need to have that conversation, and you were able to do that for your family member. So again, going over cash flow in retirement is such a big, big factor in understanding it. So we've talked about income sources, we've talked about expenses, now investment strategy.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the investment strategy, it's really around what is the distribution method that you're going to be taking. That's going to dictate what your investment approach is. So, one distribution approach would be like the bucketed approach, where you have 3 to 5 years worth of your upcoming expenses set aside into a very conservative strategy that's producing income. And then when a market like last year occurs, like 2022, or even like 2008, 2012, 2018, right? You're using that money and you're not tapping into your growth bucket. So you got your income bucket and you got your growth bucket. That's one approach. Another approach is referred to as flooring, where you take a look at your expenses. Let's say that's $100,000 a year, and your essential expenses is $80,000. Well, instead of taking out $100,000 in the years that our market pullback, you're taking out $80,000. And then the blended approach is something that we use here, and it's something that most of our clients use to navigate the volatility of the market. And that's part of the clear picture analysis that we provide.
I tell you, folks, you're listening, you're watching on YouTube. I mean, this is your opportunity. We've got 10 positions on the calendar with Jason Noble, and they are available right now, and you can call at any time. This is no cost, no obligation, simply no pressure. You can find out more about cash flow, how it relates to you and your retirement. Again, 843-743-2926 is the number to call. That is 843-743-2926, or you can text Noble to 600-700. Continuing on, Jason, let's talk more about cash flow and the spending plan, the budgeting. I mean, this is a big, big deal.
Yeah, I'll put it this way with budgeting. No, it's it's just really managing your cash flow effectively. That's what it is. And no one likes to be on a budget. No one. I don't like to be on a budget. Morgan, I'm not into your finances, but do you like budget?
No,
No,
I do not.
no. Especially in retirement, you want to be able to do something, go do it, right?
Right.
But it's telling your money where you want it to go instead of finding out where it went. That's what it's about. And that's about cash flow management. And it will provide a clear picture of how your money is being coming in and what's going out and what are you doing with the difference so that you can make a well-informed decision and avoid overspending. That's something that we're going to talk about later on in the show that could catch people off guard, especially in early parts of retirement. And that overspending could have massive ramifications if it's not caught early and made adjustments towards.
Well, I liked what you said there, the informed decision. I mean, that's what planning is. You work with a professional, you work with a fiduciary, you talk about different scenarios, and then you make that informed decision about your retirement. We're talking about cash flow, very, very important to your retirement. We've already hit income sources, expenses, investment strategy, and budgeting. What about longevity? This is a big one.
It is a big one because of healthcare and the advancements in technology. People are living longer. The thing that I'm so conscious of, is the cognitive care. People are living longer, but we haven't really put we're putting a lot of attention and focus on it, but we haven't found the right thing yet when it comes to dementia and Alzheimer's. And that could be rather expensive. So we're living longer, but if we have Alzheimer's, you could live 10 to 12 years with this awful disease, right? And so, I'm seeing my clients that are impacted by it as they start to get into their 80s and to their 90s. And if you don't have a plan in place, and I'm talking right now, if you're listening and you're in your 40s and 50s, early 60s, if you don't think this is going to happen to you, guess what? My clients in their 80s and 90s said, I never thought this could happen to me.
Sure.
So if you're listening, take some action now by putting a plan in place on what if this was to occur. Because if you don't have that what if scenario addressed, and that does happen down the line, this could put you in a really bad situation. Now you're in a Medicaid facility, and we deliver flowers to those in Medicaid and to those that are in nursing homes. And this is my shout out to my wife, Rachel. She delivers flowers. The flowers that she makes, the vases that she makes for the Medicaid facility, are a quarter of the size. They're so small. And I asked her one day, why is that? And she was like, because the space that they have is rather limited. So she makes small spaces for where they live, but then their common areas are bigger flowers arrangements. Okay, so I learned something from my wife's generosity of giving back to the community with the skill set that she has with flowers. But I'm able to bring that into what I'm able to learn from work. And so I went in with our kids to this Medicaid facility. And it's something that I really want to do all I can to avoid any of my clients ever going down that path.
I tell you, folks, just having a plan, being aware of the possibilities that, as Jason likes to frame it, the what if scenarios, it's not fun to think about, but you really need to plan for it, plan well in advance, right? Last thing we have time for when we're talking about cash flow, you got to be open-minded, Jason. You got to be able to meet with your advisor, have these types of conversations. And if a pivot, a change, a tweak is suggested, have that flexibility.
Flexibility is so important. And where I think flexibility really comes into play is ongoing communication with the advisor. Because if you're having ongoing communication, you can have small tweaks and adjustments over time. And that flexibility is not going to be as disruptive. But if you don't have regular conversations, if it's not being taken into account the dynamics of the market, the economy, new laws and regulations, and the dynamics of your life, all of a sudden you're going to have to make a major change, and that's where resistance could come into play. So small tweaks and adjustments can really make big impacts over time. That's when consulting with a qualified financial advisor can provide you with expert guidance and help you develop a customized cash flow plan that aligns with your specific retirement goals, needs, objectives, and concerns.
I tell you, folks, cash flow, we get into so many different topics when it comes to retirement, and it all kind of comes back to this. I mean, you got to have a plan. How is it all going to work together? You're probably sitting out there. Maybe you've been thinking, yeah, I probably need to kind of get into this. I need to have this conversation, but I just haven't done it. There's going to be an opportunity here in just a few seconds to get on the calendar with Jason Noble and his team and have that conversation. But you also may be in a situation where you've already started, but there's a frustration level. There's a lack of communication with your current advisor or advisory team. It's time for a second opinion if that is the case. Again, we're here to help. We're talking cash flow in this portion of the program. We've talked about the importance of just knowing the income sources, what your expenses are, what your investment strategy is, how your budgeting is going to go. Think about your longevity, how that's going to impact you, and then be flexible. Be ready to pivot if you need to pivot when it comes to your plan. But above all else, work with a professional that does this on a daily basis. And speaking of said professional, we have one. And Jason, we have positions on your calendar, 10 of them to be exact. No cost, no obligation, no pressure. What's going to happen for the next 10 callers?
Well, this is where it's time to act now. With all the uncertainty in the markets, the economy, and the world, even with the debt ceiling, as we're talking, it's so important to be proactive and not reactive to this environment. Take that first step right now by calling in and speaking to one of our specialists who will schedule a custom core values meeting with me. You will meet with me personally. This is where we get to know your story, the story of your money, and any concerns that you have right now. This analysis will include a fee report and risk assessment to help you recognize unnecessary losses in your portfolio and see if by simply protecting your retirement investments, you could experience dramatic growth potential. Second, we'll perform a tax analysis to review if there's any way that we could reduce your possible taxes and increase your cash flow. That's more money in your pocket. And we'll develop a customized income plan, thing that we just spoke about right now, utilizing proven strategies that could strengthen your retirement income and take the worry out of living in retirement. In short, we're going to take the guesswork out of your financial planning for you.
All right.
So in the next 10 callers, let's go. Let's get that comprehensive financial review started.
All right, here we go. Here's the number, 843-743-2926. That's 843-743-2926. That's the number to call. Or you can also text NOBLE, N-O-B-L-E, to 600-700. Again, the number, 843-743-2926, or text NOBLE, N-O-B-L-E, to 600-700.